friends. Welcome to another episode of Acts Refire, Acts Continuing Education, I should say. This is a great day that the Lord has given us, an opportunity for us to be together to share more and to learn more about how God is truly expanding his kingdom into different places. And today, I'm excited because I have with me Pastor Rodney Ragwan, and he is the pastor at North Wales Baptist, but he's also works with International Ministries, and he also teaches at Eastern Palmer Seminary, right? And then he's also a husband and father and a grandfather. And do you do anything else? Because that list is long, so you've got a lot going on. Why don't let's just start. Why don't you introduce yourself and share a little bit more about what you are doing, and that'd be great. All right.
Well, thank you, Pastor Eric, for this honor to be on your podcast. It's a great privilege for me to share. My name is Rodney Ragwan, married to Eva Ragwan, 3 children, 5 grandchildren.
Wow.
And I'm happy to be here. And I'm also serving, as you mentioned, in 2 roles, basically, 2 major roles. One is at Palmer Theological, at least with the International Ministries, I beg your pardon, where I serve as a global servant.
Yep.
And then bivocational at North Wales Baptist Church. It's good to be here.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I asked you to be on here, and for everybody who's watching or listening, the reason I asked was because you do have to. You are doing bivocational ministry, but you're also doing some work that's pretty neat around the world, globally, and with International Ministries. So I thought that would be a good step into that question of what. Well, first of all, what led you to go to International Ministries, and what is your role there and what you do there?
Yeah, thank you. I started as a pastor when I came here to the USA, at least as a student, and then started pastoring a church in Northeast Philadelphia, and then came to North Wales Baptist Church, where I've been there since 2018, and then there was an opening at International Ministries to serve as a director for global recruiting candidates for global ministries.
Okay.
And the Lord opened the door for me, and I basically said, "Yes, Lord. I think this is a good fit for me because given my lived experience in South Africa and even here in America, so." I felt a tug in my heart. This is what God was calling me to do. So, called to be a recruiting of candidates for global ministry since 2018. And then in 2022, I felt that God was calling me to step out in faith and become now a global servant myself.
Oh, that's great. And so, to be specific, what has been your ministry focus with I Am at this time? Like, what is it you're doing directively? I know some of it, but give us a general overview of what you do. That'd be great.
Sure. So after transitioning from recruiting global servants, candidates for cross-cultural ministries, I took the step of faith and I said, Lord, this is what I believe you're calling me to do. And I stepped into this role, basically working with overseas partners, helping develop curriculum, and also working alongside emerging leaders in different parts of the world, all within the ambit of theological education. And so it's very dear to my heart to serve now as a pastor, not only to my local church, but to serve in a global space, working alongside pastors and developing leaders and young people as well.
Yeah, I'm thankful for your ministry. I know we do work, as you know, you helped us even with the pastors in Uganda, and they really appreciated what you shared. But I know you are meeting with people weekly, correct? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit more about what you do specifically in those sessions. Where are they located?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
And then what is it you're doing with them? I know that's kind of off script here, but I thought this would be helpful for people to know a little more about your connections and what you're doing globally would be really helpful.
Sure.
Yeah.
So for security reasons, I won't be able to tell you the actual location of
That's okay. Yeah.
of 28 students that I'm kind of working with this semester. Started in January, and we conclude actually on the 2nd of April, where they write their final exam. It's an Asian context, but I meet with them every Thursday. There's 28 students from rural parts of that particular country, and these folks are so hungry to learn theology, and to see them every Thursday, engaging with them, and also learning from them has been such a wonderful experience for me. So every Thursday I meet with these 28 students. They are they speak a different language, and I have a translator, so that sometimes can be a challenge.
Oh, boy.
And nevertheless, it has been a learning experience, but just so honored to be walking alongside those students. So that's the 28 students in an Asian context. And then I also teach 2 courses at Palmer Theological Seminary. And one is a doctoral course, Context, Perspectives, and Ministries in the 21st Century. And then there's a group of non-degree students, which I meet also on Thursday in the evenings. That's a 6-week course, 2.5 hours a session. So I'm busy with those students. They are busy exploring ways to serve God in their local churches. Some of them are leaders. Some of them are bivocational pastors. Some of them wanting to transition into the pastorate. So those are the 2 groups that I'm currently involved in.
It sounds like you're really busy. It's what it sounds like, and I appreciate what you're doing, and I'm thankful that you are finding the energy to go and do all that. But there's obviously a passion behind it, right? There's something that's been in you for a while for you to be able to want to do this. With anything, you don't just go and do it because, hey, this sounds like this would be great, But what has it been your passion? Like, how has God shaped your passion for equipping leaders? Like, what do you think has been the main driver for you in your life?
I think a big part of that came through exposure. When I started to engage with leaders globally, I encountered these wonderful pastors from different parts of the world who are deeply committed to theological education. They don't have the access to theological education, but fortunately, the organizations that they come from provides this rare opportunity, and to see them attend and to see them engage, for me, it really excites me. And they have the wonderful opportunity not only to be with me, but to be with fellow students from different parts of their spaces. And so we come collectively, corporately, and we learn together. And that just excites me. It's just a wonderful experience being in that space with them.
That's fantastic. And I can appreciate that because of the work I do with Acts and other ministries, and even with work, I should say, even with ministry contexts I've had in Mexico as well. So I can really appreciate that. Wanting to see the kingdom expand. But I'll also say this, and we don't need to dive into this as a question. You and I both know something. A solid theological foundation is so important. It creates good footing for people to stand on, to grow their ministry. And if they have a weak theological foundation and they try to grow their ministry, what are they planting on? So that was a little lesson for everybody right there. So, but I want to just say too, and I appreciate. I do a lot. Obviously, that I'm busy with other things besides just my local congregation. But how have you found it to be? I guess I want to talk about passion with your local congregation, but how have you found your ability to balance and to be able to work locally too at North Wales Baptist?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think as I look at these two spaces that I'm involved in, I think they fuel each other. I find that pastoring a church on a bivocational basis, it grounds me. So there's a grounding there in the local church, in the local context. And then the global space actually stretches me. So lots of people ask, how do you do this? How do you juggle these two responsibilities? I'd like to think that I manage my focus well rather than manage time well.
I like that. Yeah.
So if I'm preaching, preparing a sermon, I'm focused on that. And I realize, as I'm preparing to preach my local congregation, there are ways in which I'm going to be telling them stories of the global church as well. And so when I'm out in the global space, they hear of references of my pastoring in a local context. So, they fuel each other. One grounds me, one stretches me.
Yeah, no, that's good. And so I guess that leads into that question of the balance of time. I know you just said you've been more focused versus time, which I appreciate that. But I also know that it does take time. How do you split that time? How do you make that work?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, when I'm focused on a particular task, I try to assign time for this particular ministry, and I like to think I give it my very, very best.
Right.
But in trying to manage time, it's also important to refresh yourself. And that's where my family, my wife, was a dear support of me, and friends, and the friendship I have with you.
Yeah.
All of these things help sustain me. It helps me to kind of sometimes have boundaries as well. When work stops, this is now time to refuel yourself, now to refresh yourself. So it's working smart in a smart way, and it is not trying to overwhelm yourself where you can get burned out. I did get burned out when I was in South Africa because I struggle with issues of boundaries. Most pastors do that because they want to pastor using just their heart rather than both their heart and their head. So I had to come to a point where I had to kind of synchronize, the heart and head. So I think and that brings another kind of dimension to my approach to these two responsibilities is the Doctor of Ministry program that I did at Parma, where it helped me to have boundaries and to plan ways that do not overwhelm you, knowing your limitations, knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, and work accordingly.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I guess one of the questions I want to ask you, though, and I think this is important for you to kind of share, is what has been your biggest blessing working in IM? We'll go to the challenge. Let's start with that one first, and then we'll do the good part first, and then we'll talk about the challenge. So what has been the biggest blessing for you? I mean, I think you shared a little bit already, but what do you think?
I think because of my background and lived experience in a highly relational space and context, coming from South Africa, and I'm experiencing that in my work now as a global theological educator, building relationship and being in community. So when I'm in that space, the excitement starts to. I get excited. The adrenaline is pumping, and it's something. Just recently, I wrote in one of my social media. There's no greater joy for me than to be in that space, in a relational sense, in a relational posture, and building relationships, and pouring into the lives of others, but also allowing them to pour into your life. And that relational kind of posture has been such a blessing to me, and I wouldn't want to trade that for anything in the world.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So I'm just going to keep on you. What about the challenges? What's been the challenges for you?
I think in a work like this, it's always almost inevitable that capacity versus need. There's such a great need out there, and of course it's the capacity. How do I meet those needs, and that's a challenge. So I have to work in ways that would not overwhelm me, to know my limitations and so forth, and work with others and empower them so that they could meet some of the needs that I cannot meet. And that's why this whole work with the international ministries and the way I'm approaching this is I do not want to use the word empower, because that has power
Sure.
dynamics there.
Yeah.
But it is working alongside them and hoping, sharing skills that will help them to help others. So there's this multiplication dimension to that.
Yeah.
So that when you leave, there are others that will continue the work.
Yeah. I'm also going to throw in one of the challenges you have sounds like the translator, right? There's no question about it. All right, this is what we're going to do, friends. We're actually going to pause there, and this will be part one of our discussion with Pastor Rodney, and then we're going to come back. We're actually going to talk more about theological training and the need for pastors and what you're seeing the need around the globe and those kind of things too. So thank you for being a part of this, and we will be back in part two.